driven by a pause in some of the themes that we've dealt with recently. I mean, does it make sense to see strong metals, to see a strong emerging market narrative when we've been talking about China weakness and strong dollar so much in recent weeks and days?
It doesn't make sense with the narrative that we've had the last few weeks, because the narrative of August has been, of course, higher yield, stronger dollar, weakness in China. As you know, I am in the camp that those themes are kind of a little bit overdone, a little bit overwrought, and I'm looking for a change of narrative in the coming weeks. And I think that if, we're already getting it ahead of Jackson Hole, but I think Jackson Hole is really set up for an asymmetric kind of risk-reward in terms of getting a slight dovish surprise out of Powell because of the yield adjustment recently. And I also think, as I've emphasized a lot recently, that the China negativity is overdone. It's valid, but it's already in the price. And therefore, to me, the fact that we're getting this turn in sentiment does make sense with the way I'm viewing markets. Maybe it doesn't quite tally with some of the narratives of August so far.
OK, maybe this is a bit of a pivot in that narrative, as you describe, and that takes you to conclude that perhaps the dollar CNH has peaked for this year. On the other side of this trade, I see JP Morgan, UBS, Nomura all saying that the yuan will continue to drop. Mark, why do you think we're in a period where the worst is already priced in then for the Chinese currency?
Who's on my side on this trade, Anna? Oh, sorry, no one. That's the issue here. I do think you're off on the show yesterday, Anna, but Tom and I actually talked about this yesterday, and I threw out this idea yesterday, and of course I did get several viewers kind of going, that's just a completely crazy idea, and internally everyone thinks it's crazy. On Monday, I sent an email out to my internal colleagues on my team and some other senior managers in China and FX going, what happens if dollar CNH has peaked for the year? And they basically all called me an idiot. Look, I do think that it is ripe for a turn in this trend. I think that the most important thing is the PBOC will not want to let dollar CNH break through the October highs of last year when they're clearly trying to defend it. That would show people that the PBOC have lost control of the narrative. They've lost control of the situation. And that would lead to massive capital outflows. Now, China's main problem at the moment is a lack of animal spirits, a lack of confidence. Companies aren't spending. People aren't investing. Consumers aren't spending as much of their money. They cannot afford to have a crisis in the currency on top of that. Now, what they've had is depreciation, because we're near the highs of last October in dollar CNH. But in the meantime, the broad dollar is more than 7% weaker. And so therefore, that has given the broad yuan depreciation. I think from here that there's a very much risk reward. The PBOC will not let dollar CNH go any higher. And I think we've got a risk reward for dollar to soften post Jackson Hole, or already maybe into Jackson Hole. And I also think the yield story is overdone. And put on top of that, China's negativity is just so extreme. I walk in every morning, I get a collation of China stories into my inbox, and almost every single one is negative, negative, negative. This is a market that cannot rally. This is a market that's broken. It's overdone.